I'm really thrilled to have everyone on board and online. I think I'm learning. So this is the second in our 4-part series and definitely learning with each one. So I had some beautiful guidance come back from the last one that said, remind everyone to keep their microphones on mute so that it's a clean experience when we're having a webinar. There's definitely some guidelines on how to set yourself up. So I'm happy to share that as well. But I'd like to just jump in. So we spent the last session talking about the possibility of a new you, or really reconnecting with your authentic, truest sense of you. And we created this content in a series format. So hopefully, for those of you who were here, you've gone in and done a bit of that work into having a nice deep look into who you are, what makes you tick, what resonates for you, and how you want to be functioning in this new world. It's definitely off the back of that we now want to move into this content around personal brand. So to just look at the journey that we're going to take you on is, once we've done a bit of work in understanding or getting to grips with and reconnecting with who we are in this very changed, ever-evolving new world that we find ourselves in, today we're going to spend a little bit of time helping you and sharing a little bit of a process around how to follow a structure to build out a personal brand. We'll spend some time together again on Friday, where we translate that now into the business world. We'll look at how to now build out a business brand. And then next week, Tuesday, when we spend some time together again, we'll really go into the nitty-gritties of how people are marketing for this new world. We'll share some of what we've been seeing online and some guidelines around how to approach people with an offering in a different way now that the world has changed so much. Cool. So the first one, I think, in looking into branding and looking into personal brand, the first question we have to ask ourselves is, what is it? What is a brand? What is a personal brand? And usually when I do this in a masterclass, it opens up to a lovely interactive conversation. And it's quite a different platform here. But and looking at the what, so often, because we are visual creatures, the quickest way for us to consume information is visually. So the first thing we would do is translate what a brand is into those aspects that we can see very quickly. So often the answer is, my brand is my logo. My brand is how my emails look. My brand is how my building looks, my car looks, etc., etc., and whether it is branded with something on it. But a brand really is so much more than that. It's an entire experience. A brand encompasses every single thing that you remember or take away once you've engaged with a person, a business, a way of life. A country has a brand. This COVID-19 virus has a brand associated with it. And that translates into every emotion that we feel when we engage with it, and what we remember about it when we think back to it. So let's keep that at the back of our mind, just beyond the visual. We're going to zoom in a little bit more into a personal brand space now. So the question around why do we want to be building a personal brand? And now more than ever in the world, people are connecting with people at a pace and on a level like never before. If we were having this conversation 6 weeks ago, I would still say to you, at the end of the day, people do business with people build relationships with people build engagements with people before they do that with brands. But now, since we are living in such an entirely different world, where we are having a shared experience alone and together, now more than ever, there's so much more of a need to just connect on a personal level. Just this morning, I was thinking to myself, I really don't know what day of lockdown we are on, but I'm starting to really feel that need and miss that personal connection that I have with people. I've consciously really filled my day up with different sessions where I'm connecting with different people for different reasons, in business and excuse me, in personal. But the reason why it's become more important to build a personal brand now more than ever is exactly that people are in more of a seeking space now more than ever in history, more than my lifetime in any case, where I'm going through something. I'm going through something that is deeply personal at the moment, that's related to the way that I'm engaging with the world around this pandemic. But now I have this deep need to connect with people, people that I know, and possibly people that I don't know personally, but may have something important to share around how they are navigating the situation. So now more than ever, the point around this is that people do business with people. People engage with people. People connect with another person's way of being, with another person's gender, with another person's race, with another person's religion, with another person's level of education, with another person's outlook on life, and with another person's view on how to get a specific set of skills or tasks done that I may need done as well. So it's really become an important space to start building out your personal brand and creating an open platform for people to connect with you, aligned to what your belief system is and what value you're able to add in the world. How? So this is the big question. It's become such a confusing space on how to build a personal brand. There are so many different schools of thought out there. There are so many wonderful resources and guidelines that exist that are helping people to navigate how to build a personal brand. And a lot of what I'm going to share with you comes from Sands and I and our business and building out our business for 13 years to date, and also just navigating the world that we operate in. Every single one of you are engaging with personal brands on a daily basis. You are viewing different ways in which people are building out their personal brand. It might not be a conscious thing. It's really, a lot of it sits in your subconscious and your unconscious mind. But now we want to kind of bring this into a more aware space and allow you to start intentionally building out how you navigate this process around building your personal brand. So the question I always like to ask in this session is, how many of you are a personal brand or are building a personal brand? So I really want you to think about that. I know definitely some of you on the call are very consciously building out your personal brand. I've definitely engaged with you one-on-one. I've seen how intentional you are about building it. But for those of you who kind of shy away a little bit when I ask the question, are you building a personal brand? Do you see yourself as a personal brand? Right at the start today, I want you to have a reality check that whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, and whether you are intentionally building it out or not, you are already a personal brand. You are definitely already a personal brand. You are creating engagements, you are creating content, you are creating opportunities every minute of every day for people to start building a sense of what your personal brand is. The difference is, after we spend the next 20 minutes or so together, I'd like you to flip that switch in your mind around whether you are consciously and intentionally building out your personal brand, or whether your personal brand is being built as a consequence of all your activities in life. And what does that mean? What that means is that every day you are putting a post out, you are sharing an idea, you are commenting on someone else's post, you're choosing to create content and maybe put it into a WhatsApp group, you're choosing who you're making a phone call to and what you are saying. And in every single interaction that you create, every single piece of content that you put out, you are creating a unique space in someone's mind. Oh, that's the woman who is homeschooling her children, or that's the woman who's building a very intense corporate career, or that's the woman who knows the best network to tap into if you want to get a home delivery of veggies, or that's the man who's a creative who is owning the videography space, or that's the guy to talk to around videography because he's building videos, he must be watching what the latest trends are in videos. Whether you know it or not, the content that you're already choosing to put out is already starting to consciously build or unconsciously build your personal brand out there in the world. So we know that it can be confusing. We know that there's a lot to navigate. So we're going to take you through a 7-step process. The first step really is a lot around the psychology of it. It's not anything that you physically need to do, but it's a mindset thing. And the mindset is, start to see yourself as a personal brand. And when I do this in a classroom with people, I stand up and I physically step into it. And that's what I'd like to invite you to do when you decide to take on this work, is to physically step into owning a unique space in somebody's mind. So the psychology around I am Raksha, or I am Raksha, the beat associated with summertime. I am Raksha, the mindfulness practitioner associated with my spiritual organization. I am Raksha, the aunt who has endless adoration and love for her nephews, who is wanting to share when they sing a song or when they create a piece of art. Like, there's a whole lot of things that are important to me in my life, and those things start to form who I am as a brand in the marketplace. So the first step is really the psychology around it. Step into it. And once you make that shift, you will see how in your mind, you will naturally start to decode and become highly conscious of everything that you're putting out and whether it is 100% aligned to how you want to be perceived in the marketplace. The key here is really to maintain a strong degree of authenticity, because we know when we engage with people, we can quickly tell when what they are speaking is merely a sales pitch, it's merely associated with something that they need to be selling right now, or if it's really authentically aligned to who they are as a being. I'm loving what I'm seeing on Instagram at the moment, especially since the pandemic started, because a wall has been taken down and people have literally opened their doors into their homes. They've opened their doors into their family life. They've opened their doors into their parenting styles. They've opened their doors into their cooking styles. They've opened their doors into how they are navigating working from home and still adding value and being a contributor in their professional careers. So there's this natural authenticity that's starting to happen where people don't feel a need to create the 100% perfect video clip with sharp editing and cuts at the end and cuts at the start and the end that make it a sexy, polished video. There's a different degree of authenticity, and as a result, a forgiveness if something is not perfect, and that results in authentic connection like never before that I'm seeing online. So start to switch on all these things in your mind as you're engaging with content. So step one, see yourself as a brand. Step two is really an add-on to the session one that we hosted a few days ago. So if you haven't seen it, there's definitely a recording. Sans would have sent it out on a mailing shot, but it's also on our YouTube channel. There is a recording of the first session that we did, which was called A New World, A New You, but that was really getting to reconnect with yourself. Know thyself is step two. Truly decode and understand everything that makes you tick, why you were placed on this earth, where you feel like you are a true expert or professional, or something that you're really good at and where you're able to add value. Really distill down to the essence of what makes you you. And I had shared in the first session that if you're struggling with this, if it's not 100% clear for you, or if you feel like you've mastered yourself into a little bit of a jack of all trades and there isn't a clear area in which you say, this is me and this is where I want to own a space and where I excel, tap into your networks. So tap into people who are your business coaches, your mentors, your guides, your community leaders, spiritual leaders, elders in your family, friends. Tap into those people who exist in your life and ask them for feedback. Where do you believe I add value in the world? What's the uniqueness that I bring into the world? What do you believe my biggest strengths are? Or where do you think I engage at my best? And very realistically, I always say this is, when you are doing something in your life, really reflect when you are doing something in your life and when you truly connect with that thing that you were born to do in this world, something else takes over. And it's almost like a channeling for me. It's like I'm not really speaking anymore. There is a divineness that takes over my mind, my body, my soul, that just allows me to function and click into it and just deliver what I need to do. So really get to know yourself and do a little bit of conscious work in distilling it down to, I don't know what that is for you, the top 1, 2, 3 things that you want to be known for in this world. So that's really step 2. Get to know yourself and get to know and get a reality check around what you want to be known for in this world. Remember, your personal brand is about reflecting a holistic being, not necessarily only the professional aspects of who I am in my career. Again, know yourself. Some of you may say, I know myself enough to know that I'm only comfortable putting out what I am known for in my career. Cool, that's 100% with who you are. If you know yourself to say, it resonates for me to say, I am this in my professional world, I am this in my family world and my parenting style and how I care for my relationship. And then I'm this in my spiritual sense, I'm this in etc., etc., etc. Just get comfortable with what it is that you would like to put out into the world and be 100% aligned with that. Because often if we push ourselves a little too far out of our comfort zone, again, it can seem inauthentic. And if we don't show, for people who maybe have a personality a little bit that's a bit more of an extrovert, if I don't show the full breadth of who I am as a being, then I risk stifling when I show only one aspect of it. So spend a bit of time. That's a very important step. Step 3 is around creating a strategy, and the strategy becomes very intimidating. That word becomes quite intimidating for people who haven't worked in a formal strategy world. So we say just create a plan. So if I want to be known as a leader in the space of female entrepreneurship and women empowerment, how am I creating a plan to create presence around that? And I really want to speak a little bit more around the online space here, because this is the space in which it's been the easiest for us to build out a personal brand, and because this is the space in which you have been doing it already. Whether you have been doing it intentionally or not, you have been doing it already. So every post that you choose to share on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Pinterest, every article that you choose to publish on LinkedIn, every network connection that you choose to show on LinkedIn, every collaboration that you choose to show on LinkedIn and your other platforms is already creating content that's creating an alignment with what it is that you want to be known for. So here, I really want you to start thinking about the suitable platforms, the right fit platforms for you, for where you want to be sharing this content, and start thinking about how regularly you want to be doing it. Don't push yourself so far out of your comfort zone that it becomes unbearable and it's something that you're not enjoying anymore because you made too big of a commitment. Maybe you start light. Maybe it's just one post a week on one platform, because the important thing is then to manage the engagement on that. So create a plan or a strategy. If you want to talk to me a little bit more around this, set up a one-on-one. We can go into it in a little more detail. For now, I want to give you the high-level plan. Yeah. Step 4, this is really the core value around it, is you want to start creating content. So there's a beautiful way in which we can create content that alleviates a lot of the pressure. So we go back to knowing yourself. We go back to those 2, 3, 4 steps that you want to be known for, and you want to be talking around those topics. If there's too much of pressure for you to create your own content, there's a beautiful space where you can tap into industry specific things. So if there's someone in the industry who's also speaking about what you're speaking about, if they may be at a global level or a local level or a specific industry niche level, you maybe want to share their content with your unique commentary on it, your unique take on it, but you really want to be consistently creating good content that's adding value for your network to engage with. So think about your content. Very often, this is where we drop the ball, because it can come across as a little bit too sporadic. So you want to align it, and this is where strategy plays a part. So if we've done our work to understand those top 2, 3, 4, 5 things that we want to be speaking on, our community that we build around us starts to know, oh, that's the person. Oh, she's talking on that topic again. Oh, that's the go-to person for that specific thing. So really get intentional around how you want to start building out content. Step 5 is alignment. So the most successful brands in the world are those that are memorable, meaningful, and consistent. So alignment speaks to consistency. We don't even know this, but when we engage with brands, a whole lot of what's happening is not even conscious. It's sitting in our unconscious and subconscious minds. But when we engage with a brand, there's a decoding and a judgment aspect that happens that says, I think she knows what she's talking about. There's something about her that says I should listen to her a little bit more. Or actually, she sounds like a little bit of a bullshitter. Maybe she's just repurposing somebody else's content and sharing it. I'm not getting a sense of depth around what she's talking about. So there's a whole lot of decoding that happens on an unconscious and subconscious level. And a lot of that has to do with the step, which is alignment and consistency. So when we've created our content, we want to ensure that our content is it's proofread, it's got good quality images, it's got the good right spelling and grammar, everything is clean and professional looking. Then when you layer on top of that the alignment or the consistency, this is what is helping to create that sense, which is not even conscious to your consumer of your content. It's not even conscious, but they're starting to get a sense of, that is someone that I should be listening to. Or actually, there's someone else in my network who's got to hear what she has to say. Or someone else in my network is going to benefit from what they have to share. So let me share it on. That's the gold. That's the goal. That's really where you want to get to in creating content around building your personal brand. So step 5, alignment and consistency. Step 6, when we go out and we say that I'm owning this unique space in a client's mind, and this is what I want to be sharing, the key to that is consistent delivery. So this is where in South Africa, unfortunately, it is an opportunity because we've become so used to substandard delivery that this becomes a real opportunity for us to stand out. And it's not even shooting the ball out the park. It's not even taking it to the next level. All we're saying is get the basics right. Deliver consistently. Delivering consistently just creates a trust that is second to none. You know, if you set a specific standard in which you operate, if a client or someone in your network knows, oh, whenever I ask her a question, I know that she's going to respond within 12 hours. I know she's going to respond within 24 hours. Or whenever I go to her, I know that she's the connector and the networker. Even if she doesn't have the answer, there's someone in her network, or I know that she'll link me with, who can connect me with something that I need to get done. Or if she says that she's the person that can deliver this specific bit of information that I need, once that consistency starts to develop in delivery, that's when your personal brand just rockets. That's when you need no longer drive it. Your network starts to drive it for you. They actually own you as a part of their network, quality network, and they start sharing you on. So step 7, the eternal student. One of the hashtags I use is student of life. So if you can get comfortable with knowing and owning the reality that our world is evolving at such a rapid rate that we are almost never going to claim the title of expert at anything, because everything is changing. Everything is changing at such a rapid rate. So I invite you to be a student. Constantly be a student. Sands and I took ourselves back to school. We were the oldest people in a room teaching ourselves the basic around branding and marketing. After running a business in it for 12 years, 13 years, our space is changing and evolving at such a rapid rate that we know that we've got to keep learning, keep learning. So if you want to claim a space at being the go-to person for something, know that that something is also going to evolve. And there's a beauty and a connection that happens in vulnerability, in saying to your network, oh, you know, this has changed in my world. This has changed in what I've been speaking about. Let's go learn about it. Oh, I've done some research and I've learned that, for example, the algorithms on LinkedIn have changed entirely. And now it's purely hashtag driven. So the network, the communities on LinkedIn are starting to consume content aligned to hashtags versus relationships or networks. So that's just an example. So get comfortable with being a student, get comfortable with being an eternal student, and to continuously learn and share those iterative learnings with your network. There is a beauty in sharing that classroom with your network and allowing them to come along with you. 7 steps. Good. So why do we want to build a personal brand? I think that there's a reason why each of you are on this webinar with us today. And there is a beautiful journey that you can go on if you choose to take this. And it's happening naturally for quite a few of you already. I want you to just put some intention behind it. Reconnect with your strengths, align that to your personal goals, tap that into your skills, tap that into your networks. You start to gain credibility. And the sweet spot really is when you start to be referred for it beyond yourself needing to keep punting it, where your network starts to pushing it out. And that will essentially just lead you to being in a happier space with your networks, a happier space when you are online, a happier space when you're engaging at a professional level, and just naturally like wildfire shooting out your network. An important question that always comes back to me is, I've chosen to be a business owner. I've chosen to take ownership for my personal brand in my professional career. What comes first? Because as an entrepreneur, the to-do list we know is never ending. And I'm sitting here this morning saying to you that now your to-do list just got a little longer. So what do you focus on first? Is it your personal brand? Is it your business brand? And the answer to this question I had alluded to in the first webinar. The answer to this question is really in knowing yourself, in knowing where your comfort level lies. And is it going to serve you better to rather allow your personal brand to take a back seat and let your business brand stand and shine first? Or have you built enough of a network over, for example, your professional career over a good couple of years, that you need to now leverage off your personal networks first to then allow it to trickle into your business brand? So you give some thought into that. Ask yourself a couple of pertinent questions around, we call it brand equity, and it's really just a fancy word for saying how much of presence does that brand have in the market already? How much of brand equity is built already around your personal brand and around your business brand? How well known are you? How much of a following do you have? How much of an expectation does your network have from it already? And there you will get your answer in terms of where you should be putting your attention in, and then realistically understanding what your personal goals are for your life as well. And do you need to be building potentially a personal brand out first and letting that go into your business brand second? So give this some thought, decode it a little bit more, and I'm happy to chat with you about it one-on-one as well if you want to go in there a bit more. I love this quotation from Jeff Bezos, and I invite you to think about this for yourself. Personal brand is what people say about you when you leave the room. So we've spent time engaging in networks, engaging in building out professional careers, engaging in building out businesses, building out networks, sharing our expertise, sharing why we are the go-to person for a specific field that we want to be known in. That is where our power ends. And this is where personal brand plays such a huge role in helping and guiding. Once we reach that point where it ends and you are no longer in the room, if you've put all the pieces of the puzzle together properly, you are helping to guide the conversations that happen about you when you are not in the room. How confident do you feel that when you are not in the room, your network is referring you on, or if someone in the room asks, hey, I've heard of this girl like Raksha from Summertime. Like, what is she all about? Should I be calling her to talk to her about my brand strategy for my business? Is she the right person to just guide me on how I should be building out my website? Do I need a strategy? Should I be talking to Raksha? How confident do you feel about the answer that someone in your network is going to give? And that's where the power around personal brand lies. So I've shared quite a bit of content around building out your personal brand. I've shared 7 steps with you in building it out. You have definitely already started to do work within those 7 steps. Today, what I want you to think about is how intentionally have you been putting those steps into building it out. So these are our contact details on the screen. If you would like to reach out, have a quick one-on-one discussion, we can share a virtual coffee. My friend calls them curious coffees, where we can have a chat around what it is that you're needing to know. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'd like to invite you to have a little bit of a discussion for the next few minutes. I invite you to put your video on. I know not all of us have brushed our hair and prepped to be online in the video world, but please, there's a vulnerability and an authenticity and a connection that happens in that space. So I invite you to please engage. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to go into, there we go into a bit of a gallery mode here. Yes, and just for the next 5 minutes or so, if any of you have any questions, any ideas you want to bounce off that could potentially help everyone else on the call as well, please ask.
Hi, Raksha, it's Ajay here. Yeah, so just the first point on, having these type of skills as an individual, when you start a business or you go freelance or whatever the case may be, you need a particular set of skills. And, it depends on the market and the country that you are in. Like in South Africa, it's a big market. You got Joburg, you got Cape Town, you got Durban. I've moved from South Africa to Mauritius now, and Mauritius is a very small market, much smaller, and the individual needs to be very multi-skilled. Like if I start my own business now, I need some ITs. Okay, I don't need to be an IT specialist, but I can be IT savvy. I can have a bit of skills on how the basics work. I need a little bit of finance, if I need to do my books, some marketing skills, things like that, because I'm the first person in my business. Okay, so when you start your business, you would want those a particular type of skills in each segment of your business. And then on the second one, where you mentioned about hashtagging and other social media, remember search engines like Google and things like that do what we call digital footprinting. So you'll have to be a little bit careful in what you upload, what you write on those social medias, because it can be tracked back to you. And in terms of IT security, that's very important for your brand. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, Ajay. Such lovely input. So definitely, on the business startup side, and I love it, that's a whole different conversation, the skills required to build out a business. But there's all these different functional and operational areas that are needed when starting a business. And we need to have a degree of comfort around, and that's a big mindset shift as well. If you are choosing to start up a business, and if we want to take the conversation in that direction, if you are choosing to start up a business, you have to very quickly get very comfortable with owning all these titles and roles that are needed in the different functional areas of the business, whether it's finance, accounting, branding, marketing, admin. There's a whole operations, technical support. There's a whole lot that will need to be taken care of to ensure that you have a well-rounded functioning business. So that's a lovely point. There's a lot of there's a quick shift that needs to happen in the mind and then operationally for you to kind of roll that out. And then I love your point, because we've just come out of a social media strat session for a new client, and if we want to just talk about hashtags a little bit more, it's a whole world, and the science of hashtags has shifted so much over the years, and it's really beautiful to see how different platforms are becoming more hashtag driven. And what's happening with the newer generations entering our working world and entering our professional world is the way in which they function online, and the way the older generations would have searched for content using Google, our younger generations are now searching using hashtags. So really tapping into hashtags that are trending on a specific topic or something that's of specific interest to them, and then looking at what people are saying on that, what conversations are happening around it, what innovations are happening around it. So aligned to your personal brand, a beautiful point, Ajay, a beautiful point around once you decide that these are the things that you want to be known for in the world, quite a bit of research. You need to really do your research to see, first of all, what hashtags already exist aligned to what you want to be known for, and how are you able to tap into those conversations. And then on another level, what unique hashtag can you create for your personal brand, and the unique content that you want to share around your personal brand that you can start to build a community and a following around. So lovely points. I love that. Thank you. Good. Is there anything else that anyone else would like to ask? We have another 3 minutes or so.
Raksha, it's Norma here. Sorry, let me video.
Yes.
So I think my question is around your personal brand and, when you are in different sectors. So I'll give an example. I have a friend that is part of a CSI organization that trains entrepreneurs for, and she's got a good position because she's in the front line. So I got onto Instagram yesterday, and she's, I guess, for lack of a better word, twerking and whatever, the TikTok videos.
Yes, I know.
So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, so where is the dividing line? Because obviously this is her personal brand in her personal capacity. It's got nothing to do with, what she does, on a day-to-day basis. But in my head, I'm thinking, when we now see you in your work context, and I've got this at the back of my mind, how then do we relate or not relate the two? Because I'm looking at you now, I'm like, I must listen to you entrepreneurship stuff, but meanwhile back at the ranch, this is what you're doing in terms of videos. So I guess my question is, how do you balance your personal life versus your work life in the brand context?
Such a lovely question, Norma. And I love it because it comes up in every session that we run. And the answer to this question, I told you, is going to go back to session 1. That it's about knowing yourself so well that you have 100% degree comfort in sharing whatever you need to on a personal level, and knowing whether it's going to serve or not serve what you are doing on a professional level. The link between personal and professional. And this is what is happening on online at the moment, is that exactly like you say, and exactly like I'm saying, because of this situation that we find ourselves in at the moment, where so many people are in lockdown, where when we're having our professional work meetings, it's common practice now for a mom's 5-year-old to come into the Zoom and say, "Mommy, but I want a cupcake and tea now." And the mom has to say, "Sorry guys, mute the thing," and say, "I told you I'm going to be on a call for the next 20 minutes. The lines have become so blurred. And if anything, for me, that makes it all the more human and creates more of a connection with people. So again, if I'm saying that in my personal life, and I'll use me as an example, I did earlier on where I said in my personal life, summertime is a huge aspect of my life. It is deeply ingrained in my identity. So every single thing that I put out there in the world, as a result, I know is going to be associated with summertime and summertime's value systems. I've done so much of work on myself that I know intrinsically, deep connection with who I am, what makes me tick, what my value system is in life, what I will do and what I don't do, what the type of people that I want associated with me in my network, the type of people I want in my network to then connect with other people in my network. Very intentional about that. So if I choose to put content out about whether I am baking a plant-based, cruelty-free, vegan banana loaf on the weekend, I may want to post that because that's aligned to who I am as a human being. If I want to post content aligned to whether I spend 20 minutes a day, twice a day meditating, that's aligned to who I am as a human being. And I feel 100% confident about the link it's going to have into my business brand. Whether I post a video that my 5-year-old nephew sent to me of him singing a song and drawing a picture telling me about what coronavirus is about, that shows my network that family values rank high in my system. So whether I want to share that I want to have a tequila for breakfast on a Tuesday morning, I need to have a degree of comfort, 100% comfort, that this is who I am as a human being. And if I choose to share it, I know that it's going to be associated with every single thing that I associate with from a brand perspective out there in the world. So the answer is, it starts with you. It starts with you knowing that this is 100% aligned to who I am, and I feel confident that it is going to, the associations it's going to create between my business and personal business, aligned with the vision I have for the business and aligned with the vision I have personally. Is that helping?
Yeah, thank you.
Answer. Good.
Yeah.
If anyone else has any thoughts around that, you're also welcome to share, but I'm very strong on it. And I'm not saying this is how you must do it. I'm saying Sands and I have been running a business for a good couple of years. We've been watching how things are happening online. We've been engaging with people who are strong personal brands out there in the world. We've been watching how they've been building it, and have built a set of guidelines for you to potentially follow. But at the same time, in knowing yourself well enough, you know 100% what works for you and how that is going to either do a service or a disservice to your professional career or your business that you're building. Any other questions? Nothing else. Okay. Well, I loved spending time with you, Jean. Thank you so much for your comment. It's always great sharing content out here, engaging our SME network. Sands and I are available for coffee and a chat just to decode a little bit of what we've been sharing. And we hope to catch you on the next one, where we're taking this personal branding space and we're going to zoom in really close to now building out a business brand. This is the core of what we've been doing in our business for 13 years now. This is the stuff that we really do in our sleep. But having said that, the space has shifted and evolved so much. So we'd love to share updates in how that space has changed and evolved. And again, a couple of guidelines on how to get it done for you. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you again in a couple of days. Look out on our social media platforms, and we'll share links when the registration opens. Take care. Bye now.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.